Coaches, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Coach Simpson. If this is your first time being on here, I appreciate if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel. I'm going to try to have a couple videos a week if I'm able to, leading up to the season, and then as the season ends and we get into off season, try to do a daily video on there. If you're interested in more information specifically about what we run, I've got a lot out there, including my playbook and other resources you can get at fbcoachsimpson.com. Or you can email me any questions at fbcoachsimpson@gmail.com, or just look me up on Twitter, fbcoachsimpson. It's kind of a theme there, and shoot me a DM and I'll try to get back with you. So today I'm going to talk offensively, and it could really relate to defense as well, and even special teams, but the power of what I call tags. Okay, so we're very simple. If you've heard me talk, I believe in the power of being simple and being very good at what you do and coaching it up. Okay, and in this COVID era, that's becoming very difficult because the time to put in what we want, or at least the feeling for me and probably other coaches, is that we're going to be on a big time constraint. And so what a lot of coaches are going to do, and I'm having to fight the urge and still having to remind myself, is let's be really good at our base stuff and then use the power of tags, which cause nobody to think except for the quarterback, the play caller, and the one kid you tagged, whatever you're tagging to think a whole lot more, and it makes it look a lot more complicated to a defense. So today, as an example, I'm going to give you a simple pass route. Most teams run some flavor of a flood route where you're hitting the different lows. So let's say you teach your base route is a flood, you get the deep out, and then you've got kind of your hot route, shoot, whatever you've got. So this is your base play, and you're going to spend your time teaching your quarterback how you want that to go. We like to roll out to this, don't have to. And so when I talk about tags, tags are what you name your position players. So let's say that this is your Z, this is your A, and then that's your H. Okay, it doesn't really matter, whatever your terminology is. And again, if you want my terminology, you can go to my website and get all that stuff. So power of a tag is we want to run very similar concepts that don't really change the integrity of the play or are taking advantage of what the defense is doing, because both of those things put the smallest amount of stress on your quarterback. If you're tagging something but you're not changing his read, it's really not that different for him. If you're tagging something with the intention of he's going to throw to that guy or throw it away, again, that doesn't put a whole lot on him. So that's where we're coming in with tags. And I'm just using a passing concept. In our system at Cersei and what I had before, we would do the same system in our blocking schemes. Have different tags that would allow our linemen to do things. We do the same thing on defense, okay? But for now, here's our concept. So we have a go, we have a deep out, and we have a shoot. Well, one of the tags that we'll make a lot, and not exactly this route, but you can, is what's called a switch call. So we're going to run a switch call. So now the A is going to run the Z's route, and the Z is going to run the A's route. So if the Z was running a go, the A is going to run either that slot fade, or he could run a corner, however you want to teach in your offense. And the Z now knows that A was running the deep out, so now he's going to run the comeback. Okay? For your quarterback, that changed nothing. So whatever his read was, it's the same read. For your receivers, they know what those routes are. You've repped them, I hope, okay? So they can run those. But for a defense, that's different. If they're keying your number 2 receiver, he's not running out now, he's clearing them out, and you're throwing this underneath, whatever comeback you want to run, okay? So the defense, it looks completely different to your quarterback. You can give him the same exact read just by making an easy tag, okay? So that's an example of tagging a route that doesn't change the integrity of the play and doesn't change the read of the play for your quarterback. And you can do different things. You could motion to it. So you could go ahead and, for us, we would tag a motion. We can bring this guy in motion and he runs a shoot. And that changes nothing for your quarterback, but for a defense, they go from a 2x2 to a 3x1. That does change it a little bit, okay? Or you could bunch your receivers up. You could go ahead and run like a bunch call. Get them all in there together and run the same route. or you could motion your Z in or your A in or whatever it is. All you're doing, and you're telling your kids, is guys, we're going to get to the same spot. We're just going to move to get there. Okay, and that to a defense causes lots of problems. As a play caller and a quarterback, it makes your job easier because as you start moving guys around, you can figure out coverage real quickly. If your quarterback isn't a guy that can really read that very well, as a coach, you can read it pretty quickly. Okay, you can also tag to throw certain routes to take advantage of what the defense is doing. So let's say go back to our flood concept here. We've run flood several times. The defense is basically running a spin type coverage to handle it, where he's going to stay over the top. He's going to kind of rob whatever's going on, and he's taking the shallow. All right, so we're hitting these same zones. We see this coming. Well, where is the hole going to be? Well, it's going to be over his head. And so we're going to run flood, okay? We're going to run flood, a cop, or a whatever your route is for I'm going to look like I'm going out and I'm going to come back inside. So now I'm going to get the same look. I get my clear out. I got my shoot. I'm getting the same spin from the defense. I'm outside releasing, and then I'm running my cop route. Okay? And that's a simple route where you're just calling a route. Your quarterback knows when you called that, that's what you're throwing. Okay? You're throwing the ball to that player because you're tagging to take advantage of what they're doing. All right? It's a very simple concept. We use the power of the tag in multiple ways. We use it in our run game. We're going to run buck sweep. We're having problems with maybe a 9 technique or a 3 or whatever it is. We have multiple tags we can go to with our kids because they understand the integrity of the play, or we don't mess up their blocking scheme, but it allows us to handle multiple fronts and give a different look to a defense. So think about buck sweep. So I did a pass. We go ahead and do buck because that's kind of what people know me for. So let's say we're wanting to run buck this way. When we run buck sweep, our normal way, we pull both guards, we down block, we get it going, all right? But we got a really tough guy right there who's giving us fits, okay? And my tackle is athletic enough, and they're reading guards, okay? So there's a lot of different ifs. He's reading the guard, he's there, my tackle can handle this, we'll make a switch call. And so now I'm here, I can now work back. I'm got down backer, I'm here, I'm sorry, just messed that up. My switch call tells my tackle I'm now the pull kick. So I'm still here, but I'm pull kicking with the guy who's got a much easier path. We don't always like to do that, but the idea is let's give our kids the ability, just like we do our receivers, to make simple tags to make their job easier. You can't run this if your strong tackle has no idea what buck sweep is. If all he knows is I'm blocking down and he doesn't understand what you're trying to do, you can't do stuff like that. So you need to make sure you're giving your kids, if you want to do this, use the power of the tags, but you got to teach them the concept of what you're trying to accomplish, not just how it looks on paper, but what you're trying to do so that they can make those switches, okay? Kids can process a lot more if we'll talk to them and explain these things to them. The problem becomes when you have this long plays and that many tags and you start doing multiplication. Oh man, NFL players can't do that stuff. So think about who you're coaching. If you're wanting to do this, then your play sheet has to shrink, and then you can now tag off everything. Appreciate you guys paying attention. Again, if you got more questions, you can find me in any of the FB Coach Simpsons. I actually have my whole playbook on my website. If you would like to go get it, you can go there and it'll have a link to where you can go order it. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love if you could subscribe to my channel or like this video. Appreciate your time.